So, y'all, as we're finishing strong here, we've just finished the French Revolution. We know that Metternich has made this famous statement: when France sneezes, Europe catches a cold. And here we're going to see a dramatic explosion of revolutionary activity. This video is going to primarily focus on the Austrian Revolutions of 1848. And let's jump in. There are four different revolutionary groups that we're going to cover. Three of them are directly inside the Austrian Empire, and one of them will be in Italy. I want to point out the first group is going to be the Vienna German liberals, the German liberals who want a constitutional rule. They are clearly not nationalists. They do believe that the Germans are a superior people than the rest, but they want to get rid of the autocracy of the Habsburgs and create a constitutional monarchy. And this is actually a image, a painting of illustrating what this revolution looked like. That is only going to inspire the Hungarians or Magyar liberals. They're going to demand, even though they're liberals, you might say, "Was, aren't they the same as the Germans?" And the answer is no. The Hungarian liberals are going to demand autonomy. Autonomy means independent rule. They want to be self-ruled. The Hungarians want a constitution that supported Hungarian power. They almost wanted a dual monarchy. We'll see a little bit later. So they're definitely not nationalists. The Hungarians believe they're superior than the other minorities. So we begin to see this element. So immediately we see the liberal schism between Vienna and Buda. Then you get the Czechs. The Czechs in Prague, they were nationalists. They demanded governments based on national identities. There were those romantic nationalists that we've already talked about. The idea that every nation deserves its nationhood, statehood. And if the Czechs went out, think about what Austria would look like. It would be completely transformed into about a dozen individual states. And so now these are the three that are really rocking in Austria. And then we're going to add here the Italian revolutions. Venetia and Lombardy sparks these in hopes to break away and unite with the rest of Italy. There's this great romantic hope in 1848 that nationhood of Italy could be realized. Even Piedmont gets involved and hopes to become the leader. So now if we look at this revolution, if we just kind of look at all of the areas of Austria, look at all of these revolutions. There's a dozen or more. Why? How did the Austrian revolutions fail? You would assume that the revolutions would have created chaos. But what happened? How did the conservative order gain power? Well, first of all, we have a new a new emperor, Francis Joseph or Franz Joseph I. He's an 18-year-old who gains power. The older one, who's not beloved by anyone, is removed, and Franz Joseph basically becomes the final last of these great Habsburg emperors. He will rule Austria from 1848 all the way to approximately 1916. He's basically the last emperor. There will be a couple, there might be another name or two that we could know, but ultimately he's the one that oversees the end of it. So he comes in power, and the first thing he does is abolish serfdom. This is a genius move. He does it differently than Joseph. It wasn't just a random thing. But what happened was many of the serfs were frustrated, and they had a romantic hope to be independent. Well, once he abolished serfdom, those serfs had no reason for supporting the war. So the revolutions lost their soldiers. Genius move. And then Nicholas I, who really doesn't have to worry about any Russian revolution because of his oppressive reactionary nature, he actually just identified himself as a policeman of Europe, and he sent his army to quash the Hungarian Revolution. So the Russian army comes in, destroys the revolution over there. And this is kind of crazy because you would assume it's about aggrandizement. But no, Nicholas I believes he's part of that Holy Alliance, part of the concert of Europe. He believed that he was there to support, be part of a community of these conservative states. That will be an interesting kind of element in the 1850s that we'll see later. And then last but not least, the schisms. As we saw in the French Revolution, schisms, the liberal schisms, the national schisms, rather than having a united revolutionary group, the revolutionary groups will define themselves by their differences. And with the Franz Joseph policies, such as abolishing serfdom, with the Nicholas I bringing in his army to help balance that out, all of these revolutions come to an utter failure by 1848 into 49. Very important, Franz Joseph remains the autocratic ruler, absolute ruler of the Austrian Empire. There is no constitution, there's no legislative body. He alone rules. And we're going to see how that evolves in our next unit. I'm going to pause here.